Hello my friends and welcome back. What have I told you yesterday? I told you when I had that little article coming from Ukraine, from a Ukraine source by a Ukrainian guy from the leadership of Ukraine, the Weasels, that the Ukrainians, I think it was Danilov, the guy who said, I got a secret and I'm not going to tell it. Beat it. That way, yes. And he said that they're working with, Ukrainians working with Rasmussen, I think it was, ex-NATO something or something like that, to create a document providing safety guarantees, security guarantees to Ukraine. And I said, oops, that's the first time I hear that. And that was something that was discussed in Turkey when they met the Russians over there. Security guarantees. They needed a number of countries to say if Russia does this, blah, 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 then you're going to intervene, including China to be signatory of the document. And they said, well, we're going to have these security guarantees. We'll talk with our partners. I was like, bing, what? You're talking about that? That means, and I said in the video that I made yesterday, that there are negotiations behind our ears and behind our, and so on. And look what we have here. Now this is, and I said, this is the first little thing that they let us know. And probably I said in 2 days it's going to be more and more and more until they say, well, actually they agree with this kind of peace treaty. Let's go and see what's going on here. You will be surprised. This article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine from August 25, 2022. Ukraine's 6 key conditions for peace talks with Putin's Russia, like Putin owns Russia or something. So Ukraine's 6, not Zelensky's Ukraine 6 key conditions for peace talks with Putin's Russia, which would make it balanced. No, it's Ukraine like a country togetherness, and Russia belongs to Putin. Ukraine's 6 key conditions for peace talks with Putin's Russia. You got it? From the very beginning, you feel like throwing the phone away. But no. Too much, this piece of garbage. Panic is now slowly spreading among ordinary Russians. If you talk about your key demands, that means you're ready to negotiate. All right, panic is now slowly spreading among ordinary Russians with significant numbers reportedly fleeing Crimea and Belgorod. Possibly. This shift is the dynamic of the 6-month conflict has clearly registered in the Kremlin. The war is still far from over, but with Ukraine visibly growing in boldness and Russian offensive operations rapidly running out of steam. How can they run out of steam when you said yesterday that they bombarded your country on your Independence Day? How? And when I read your articles, they say the Russians are attacking there, the Russians are shelling there, the Russians are attacking, but they pushed back. They're always on the offensive. What are you talking about? I just made a video today. The Ukrainians were crying crocodile tears over there that the Russians have 400 airplanes at the Ukrainian border and 350 helicopters, and we're like, and now they tell me that the Russians are depleted and the steam. My God, make up your mind, people. Is running out of steam. Putin is showing signs of seeking a return to the negotiation table. First, Lavrov said many times, who is the foreign minister of Russia, and Putin, the negotiation, we never ceased to have an open door for negotiations. They never said we're not going to negotiate. Come, not like that. Come over, come, and we're going to negotiate. They never said, oh, now we're going to negotiate. They were always open. These guys were with their, but you know the preconditions by the Russians, there are 5 of them, or 4 mainly, but you can make them 5 if you really want. And Ukrainians have their preconditions that would not be accepted by the Russians, and the Russians have preconditions that the Ukrainians will not accept. But it's not Ukrainians, my bad. It's the guys across the Atlantic that will accept or not. While a decisive military victory currently looks to be beyond Russia's capabilities, it remains unclear if the war will enter a prolonged stalemate or whether Ukraine can force Russia to retreat. Unlike Russia, Ukraine has large reserves of soldiers. What do you mean, unlike Russia? You have large reserves. You have a population of about 40 million people, and the other one have it, what, 4 times more than you. So how can you say that you have more than those? They are 145 million and you are 40 some. What are you talking about? Based on what can you say this kind of BS? Unbelievable. Unlike Russia, Ukraine has a large reserves of soldiers and does not appear to be facing any imminent recruitment issue. No. However, the Ukrainian military remains highly dependent on the country's Western partner, for the weapons it requires in order to mount a serious counteroffensive. So that means if the partner say no more for you, done. All right, that's what they say here. So some in Berlin, Paris, and Washington had, hey, you missed London. Are you not crying, guys? they are the second player. The first is United States, the second is Great Britain. So come on. All right. So had earlier worried that providing Ukraine with more potent weapons would provoke Putin into a new escalation. I got it. Great Britain never doubted that. So these guys just were, oh, don't do that. The other guys was, just send as much as you can. Instead, recent weeks have seen Russia partially lift the blockade on Ukraine's Black Sea ports while expressing a readiness to allow international inspectors to visit the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine, which is currently under Russian control. So why are the Russians bombing their own power plant that is under their control, which is theirs? Again, a giveaway. I thought they were bombing both of them. And meanwhile, high-profile Kremlin emissaries, such as former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder, have announced Putin's readiness to negotiate. He was always ready, but he just said it again. It is possible that Putin realizes he is now in danger of losing and is trying to recover his position via diplomacy. So far, Ukrainian officials have downplayed the prospect of any high-level peace talks. That means downplayed, we're not going to negotiate. Not downplayed, we're not going to negotiate. And Russia was come over, let's negotiate. Amigo. Not amigo, but Ukraine is likely to face mounting international pressure in the months ahead to engage in fresh diplomatic initiatives. They're already done. It is therefore vital to clarify Ukraine's key conditions in advance. This would merely set the stage for a new war in the coming years once Russia has licked its wounds and recuperated militarily. All right, so let's see. Did they give us? All right, as Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky, Ukrainian President of Ukraine, handler, has rightly insisted the first and most obvious condition for future peace talks is the recovery of all occupied Ukrainian territory. Well, you got him. Everything that's yours, it's yours. You got it. You don't have the Russians' territories. That's according to Russians, right? And history, okay? You got it. What do you want? That's already fulfilled. That means Crimea and the so-called People's Republics of Eastern Ukraine, as well as regions occupied during the past 6 months, re-establishing Ukraine's territorial integrity is the only way to secure a sustainable peace. Oh, it's the only way, but it's not going to happen because that's not what they think it's Ukraine. So your idea of Ukraine is not their idea. So what are we going to do? They identify as Russians, those regions. So what are they going to do? Because you can, if you identify as a boy or a girl, you have to respect that decision. So you should respect also the decision of the Russians to identify as belonging to the Russian state. Right? Right. I mean, if you want to belong to Europe, you got to accept and respect people's identification. If I identify as that, you have to respect it, Zelensky. Come on, man, 21st century. Come on. All right, let's go next one. Second, Ukraine needs to receive credible security guarantees. You're working on that. Kiev can no longer accept security assurances as the flawed December 1994 Budapest Memorandum. Neither the Russian can with NATO. Thank you very much. Good job. Putin's disregard for international blah, blah, blah. Let's say, third, Russia must pay war reparations. That will never happen. Never happen. And then he says that Western governments should facilitate the financing of Ukraine post-war rebuilding by confiscating $316 billion of currency reserves belong to the Russian central bank and frozen since the first days of the invasion. Hey, Robin Hood, take it easy. And the fourth one, the Russian Black Sea Fleet must permanently evacuate its latest naval base in Crimea, port of Sevastopol. But they can't. It's on their territory. The Russian invasion, blah, 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 blah. Fifth, we got the last one here, right? There were five? No, there was six. Fifth, the last 2 million Ukrainians have entered Russia since the start of the invasion, with many subjected to forced deportation. All Ukrainians who so desire should receive permission to leave Russia. They will receive. The thousands of Ukrainian children taken by Russian and subjected to illegal adoption must be returned to Ukraine. They probably will. Sixth, Russian soldiers and officials who have committed serious war crime should be prosecutors of the International Court of Hague. In The Hague. Fortunately, the Ukrainian authorities have already begun the process of registering the documenting Russian war crimes in great detail. All right, and these 6 conditions should serve as the basis of a potential peace talk. So this is just the first thing, and maybe we can talk about peace. All right, and the Russians are like, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the door. Get out. All right, so you got it. And then it says that Western leaders should therefore focus on providing Ukraine with the weapons it needs to win the war, while also sending a clear message to Moscow that sanctions will remain in place until Russia has fulfilled all of its Ukraine's conditions. Got it? Got it. Ukraine dictates because it's in the position. It's a strength position to dictate the Western partner to the enemy criminals of war, Russians. Because, why? All right, so you got the 6 demands, and just to start the process, it's just a basis. And then, the details are going to be about 50 more demands. But the Russians, what about Russians? What if they come with any, no, counter offers or counter demands? Or, no, they can't? Okay, all right. So, really, if I would take these guys, the handlers of Ukraine, as people, and say a person, so let's say I'm Russia, the person Russia, or let's say I'm a person outside of the conflict, and I hear this person talking like this with his handlers, with the partners, and with Russia, I would smack this guy around. If I were the way I used to be, a little bit younger, I would smack this guy. What's going on here? Who do you think you are? Weasel? You're losing and you're still standing just because those guys are helping you. And you tell them what to do, and you're the weakest link in all this. You're the slowest gazelle on the savannah. That's what you are. And you're the one who imposes and tells people what to do. Isn't that unbelievable? But that's chutzpah. But you got Zelensky and you got Shmihal. They use that, so that's fine. That's part of the, culture. So, what are you going to do about it? Do you think the Russians... Imagine that you are Putin and Lavrov reading this. I think they bring me more vodka, but I know Putin doesn't drink. I don't know Lavrov, but what is this? I mean, I think they can make cartoons out of these demands. They can make fun of them. I mean, really. You have a bloody nose, you're on the floor or on the ground, and you say, you should do this, and what? You're not in that position, my man, to impose anything. I mean, you can say stuff, you can, but you make a fool of yourselves. And this is what I think happens here. But at least we know the 6 demands just as a basis for us to communicate with you, allowing you to communicate with us, have contact with us. So much weaselness here. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just, my God.